So it's your email address that you define as admin on LSEO, and paste the password from your clipboard and hit login. Then it's asking you if you want to enable notification. I will allow it. And as it is our first time accessing it, we don't have any project, so we have an empty state, and we can create a new project here. You can choose to receive or not email from Taigan. I will say don't ask again and save preferences. Then you choose the type of project you want to create. You have the choice between Scrum or Kanban, but don't worry because you can change or enable both at the same time later. You can duplicate an existing project or import one from another instance, for example. Let's choose Scrum. I don't have a real project to start from, so let's imagine that we are creating an iOS application. Let's name it iOS app, and iOS app development as the description. Of course, for a real project, you would write more. You can decide if it's public for anyone who has access to the instance or if it's private for a specific team within the instance. Let's make it public and create project. This is the nice user interface you have when you enter inside a project using Taiga. But before adding some stories inside our backlog, let's edit the settings. So go to settings on the bottom left, go to members. And because we will want to assign stories and tasks to other people, it's better to add some fake user for the demonstration. So let's add a new member. I will invite myself with another email extension at gmail.com and invite. You can choose the role you invite this user. So is it UX design front back? Let's choose front. Invite. For the moment, you can see it's in pending state. I can decide if it's an admin or not and update its role or resend the invitation if there was an error at some point. In my mail, I can see the invitation. I will accept it. Open in incognito, so I'm not already logged in. Let's create this other account so I can see who invited me, register a new account. Now I'm still on the second account and I can see I'm part of the team right now. Let's go back to our main admin account. Now I reload this page. I can see that the new member is accepted and has its proper name. It is stayed as active. Currently, the role of this user is front. I chose it from this list, but this list is not limited. We can add some more. To do this, we need to go to permissions. And here is the list of roles. So we can add a new one, let's say QA. Then you can fine-tune the permission for this specific role, but let's keep it like this. And if we go back to our member, now I can assign this member to QA or any role I would create. Okay, now our team is ready. We can go back to our project. Let's head to Scrum, go to backlog, and let's add a user story. First, let's define a subject. As a user, I want to see the list of my project. We can add a tag to our story. Let's keep it empty for now. Let's add a description to explain what it is about. So users should be able to view its project, the project status, have access to actions, update, duplicate, open. And it's from that we will create tasks and action for the team. You can add some attachments as the document, the specification, or the graphic UI you want to integrate. Then you can choose who you want to assign it to. So either to me as the leader of the team, the project manager, or to anyone else. So if you are multiple project manager or you have teammates, let's assign it to me. You can assign it to multiple people, and you can define the different points it takes to develop this specific task. So let's say we have to do some things on the design. So we can choose the different complexity of it. Let's say it's 2 points. For front end, it will be 3. And for back end, it also will be 3. So it's a total of 8 points. Then you have those 4 small icons below. So it's to define a due date. You can choose when you want it to be done. Let's say in 2 weeks. Then if you hover, you have a description of what it is. So is it a team requirement? It's a requirement that must exist in the project, but should have no cost for the client. So if it's an internal project or an internal task, you will check it. But it's not our case, it's for our customer, let's say. So we don't check it. Then you have this one. A client requirement is a new requirement that was not previously expected and is required to be part of the project. So these are the tasks that would lead to an additional cost to the customer. So if it's just the normal project you are developing, just don't check it. And then the last one is if it is blocked. But for the moment, as it is the story, we won't block it. So let's create it. Now in a normal project, your backlog would be filled with more user stories, but let's just keep one and create a sprint for it. So add a sprint. Let's name it dashboard. We can define when we want it to be end. By default, it seems to be 1 week. So let's keep it and save. Now on the right, we have our sprint created. We need to drop some stories from the backlog to start it. So let's drop our task and go to the sprint task board. From here, I have a clear view about all the points, everything that is completed, the number of tasks, everything I need to have a proper view over my sprint. So I have a user story, and inside I will want to add some tasks. So I can add a new task or tasks in bulk, but let's just add them manually. Let's say the first task is to design the UI, create the Figma for the devs. Let's assign it to someone else. Oops. Assign to the other one, even if it's a developer, okay, it will do the design. This is the first task we need. Let's add another one. So you see it appeared in new. Let's say it's the dashboard integration. So front-end integration of the design. Once it's ready, we could attach the Figma file here or a link to it. I will assign it to me. You can define a due date. You can choose to add the lead again. So let's see what it is. It's if you have a struggle doing this task, you would click on it and it would notify your team that you are having a hard time with this task. So the project manager or other developers could help you manage it. And it could help you avoid mistakes in the future where the task wasn't split enough and you had a hard time dealing with it. Then you can choose it's locked by another task. So why is it blocked? Because UI is not ready. So as long as it is locked, you can't work on it. Let's create it. Now we have our different tasks. We can move them. So new, now it will be in progress. You can see we have 2 open tasks. No one is closed right now. And we have 1 new occurring those. So we can see that the sprint isn't going very well because one member of our team is having problems. This is the big picture maybe for the project manager, but maybe if you are just a team member and just want to know what you have to do within your task, you will go to filters, and based on the different filters available, you could create your own view. So let's say statue, you just want the new and the in progress. You will have them, or you just want the one assigned to you. So you will check your name and see only your tasks. And when you know you have your task to do, you can open it and you have a detailed view about what it is. You can add a tag to it. You can see who is assigned to, and you can add watchers that will be notified about anything happening to this task. And you can add attachments and ask a question to your team members here. One last thing you can do is to create issues. So go on the left here, and let's create a new issue. Let's say my main problem is Figma file is not ready. Please, I can't start working without it. Assign it to the right person. Let's say it's admin. The type, it's a question. The severity is critical because I can't work. But usually an issue, it's not for a team problem, but more about the software you're developing. But here it's just an example. You can also add a due date and if it's locked by something, and hit create. And from here, you have another dashboard where you can filter the type of issues and treat them one by one. Let's go back to the settings. There is one other thing I want to do. From here, you can really customize your experience based on your project. So you can update it, change the logo, change the global settings. You can choose different presets, so the default value for different task, epic, user stories. So it really reflects your way of working. Then you can choose different models. So remember at the beginning, I said you can choose between Scrum or Kanban. And here it is. You have the choice between one or the other, or you can enable both. You can also add the epics module, but we will keep it off. You can also export your data. So for example, if you want to change your instance, you can export it or create a new project from it, and you will import through this export. Then another great thing you have is in the integration. You can define some webhooks. So when something happens, you will create custom flows with your backend. Or best is you would have your GitHub connected. Let's open the support page so you understand it better. And what you can do is when you connected your GitHub account, based on the name of your PR of your commit, it will be able to change the status of your task. You have the same principle in Jira. Very useful. You have it also in Taiga, and it works with GitHub, but also with GitLab and Bitbucket. Okay, let's go back to our project. Now, because we enabled Kanban, we can see it on the left. So we have that view to edit our task. Let's say now it is ready in progress, we can edit it in the Kanban view. To manage your project better, you can also use the search feature and search anything that you are looking for and you're not finding it easily within the different views. And you can also create some documentation by creating wiki page. So you just write in the Markdown editor, hello, these are the links of our documentation. You can create other page, other bookmarks, and it's a bit like Confluence where you would add some details about your project and your specifications. Finally, you have the team section. And from here, you have a global overview about who is having problem. For example, me as the admin, I should rename my account. You can see if I'm a Mr. Wolf, if I'm a Locoin Dog Drinker. So you can see here what the name means. So you highlight it. Wiki page is edited. Am I a bug ender because I reported issues? Am I doing night shift? So it means I closed tasks. And my total power, the total points I get.
Probably you are familiar with both methodologies. Both are agile and have lean properties. Scrum is about commitment, team commitments over a fixed period of time, prioritizing a backlog and measuring velocity. Whereas Kanban is a more fluid and organic way to track how different tasks move across different states or columns, and then trying to optimize that cycle. What is the minimum time that I can get on average a task that enters the Kanban before it ends its life cycle and is finished or rejected. Whatever you want.